Blackmore.
The East Coast versus West Coast, one of the oldest rivalry stories in the fighting game community. And it's one of those battles that I personally feel that helped shape the way we play, talk, and even think about fighting games. So let's go all the way back to the early 90s, especially during Street Fighter II's crazy boom. The East Coast, which I would say reside New York, Philly, and Jersey, had a reputation for being grimy, defensive, and scrappy. Players leaned into strong fundamentals, patience, and punishing mistakes. The cramped New York arcades like Chinatown Fair forced players to adapt in environments where every mistake got you bodied, and trash talk was just part of the game. Now with the West Coast, which is like pretty much the SoCal, NorCal area of California, they were known more for their flashy, stylish, and experimental play. As James Chen once explained, lack of travel, non-existent online video streaming, and no online competition forged the unique styles and approaches in fighting games between the two coasts. These clash of styles, the gritty defense versus stylish offense, became the big DNA of East versus West. Nowhere was this rivalry more shown than in Street Fighter and later Marvel vs. Capcom. The East Coast had Justin Wong, Sanford Kelly. I'm not even naming fully everyone part of this group because there are so many different killers out there. They were all about control, patience, and wearing the opponent down. Justin Wong especially built his career on immaculate defense, clutch comebacks, and never giving an inch. The godfather for so many players of this style on the East Coast is thanks to Eddie Lee. If you thought Justin was lame with how the way he played back then, just look how Eddie Lee would play with a character like Ibuki in Third Strike.
He does nothing. You don't know how to get in. Like you have to learn how to hit buttons against him.
You sure do.
So
What do you mean by like you didn't know what coaching was? Like
Like,
what was coaching?
when you play other people, like there's turtle style, rushdown style. Like people talk about like people that are patient or whatever. Eddie Lee's like the most minimalistic player I ever played. So it's like the first time you play him, you want to fight him, you're just gonna be whiffing stuff and getting punished on everything. So he teaches you really how to be a defensive player, but how to make good risks. Like he pretty much pioneered like so much shit.
Can't forget other legendary players like Flash Gordon. Rest in peace. Now on the West Coast, on their side, you had names like Alex Valle and John Choi representing. Valle's rushdown, explosive style represented everything West Coast stood for, being bold and seizing the moment. And when the two sides clashed in early Street Fighter IV exhibitions, things like Gutek's Bar Fights 2 exhibition showed East Coast dominance for that event. Hitting 13-0, every East versus West major wasn't just about players, it was about ideologies clashing on screen. If Street Fighter was the background, then Marvel vs. Capcom was where the real war zone was going on. Now, the East embraced Marvel 2 with that same grimy, lock-you-down energy. Sanford Kelly and Yipes ran airtight setups, mix-ups, and suffocating pressure. Yipes especially brought the personality. His commentary immortalized the East Coast's flair.
Curly mustache!
Meanwhile, the West, players like Duck Doe and Clockwork, were building some of the flashiest strats ever seen. Spiral set Doom teams, resets, crazy execution. They didn't just want to win, they wanted to express themselves while doing it. One Marvel community veteran summed it up perfectly. East Coast did smart but ugly stuff and win. Nothing fancy ever. The West, by contrast, leaned into spectacle, even if it meant risking stability. Even the tier list showed differences, as one player recalled. While Sentinel was cannon fodder on the West Coast, the East Coast was doing it right with Sentinel first. The East squeezed every ounce of efficiency out of them, while the West innovated stylish tech. Marvel became the perfect reflection of the rivalry. East Coast saying, we'll break you down, while the West Coast is saying, we'll blow you up in style. Even in Tekken, this rivalry played out as well. East Coast Tekken leaned on hard reads, defense, and tight spacing. The New York scene valued survival. Make your opponent frustrated, then strike. The West Coast Tekken side emphasized creativity and flashy execution, wild juggles, stylish movement, and riskier play. And this push and pull once again showed the same formula. The East sharpening discipline, and the West pushing the envelope. Now, if this sounds familiar, it should, because hip-hop went through the same thing. The infamous East Coast versus West Coast beef back in the day. Now, you had like New York rappers like Nas, Biggie, Wu-Tang Clan, and several others that I could go all day of just naming. They were all about the lyricism, storytelling, and this gritty realism. The West Coast, where you had people like Tupac, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, lean into funk-inspired beats, style, and attitude, are some examples I'll use to help paint the picture for you all. The FGC mirrored this dynamic perfectly. Just like in hip-hop, the rivalry bred innovation. East Coast sharpened the blade, West Coast polished the shine. And just like hip-hop, the trash talk and competition sometimes got heated, but at its heart, it was about respect. The East versus West rivalry isn't just history, it's the foundation of the FGC itself. Without this push and pull, we might not have seen the explosive growth of competitive fighting games. Like, the East kept the fundamentals alive, and the West kept the creativity flowing. Together, these two made the FGC something bigger than just locals and putting up your quarter at the arcade. It wasn't just the playstyles, it was the lack of early crossover that made each coast evolve its own flavor. When they finally collided, sparks flew, and the community leveled up because of it. So, will East Coast versus West Coast always be a rivalry? Probably. Rivalries are human nature, and this one's carved deep into the DNA of fighting games. But the real question is, how do we preserve it? How do we make sure future generations of players know why this rivalry mattered? The same way we still talk about hip-hop's golden age. Do we tell the stories? Do we document the matches? Do we keep alive the legends of Chinatown Fair and Southern Hills Gothland? Because the East versus West rivalry isn't just a feud, it's history. It's a reminder that the FGC isn't just about the games, it's about people, culture, and the spirit of competition. So I'll leave you with this. Will this rivalry define us forever, or will it evolve into something new? And what can we do to make sure the story of the East versus West continue to inspire every new player who picks up a controller and wanting to play? So please leave your thoughts down below in the comments. I would love to hear your stories from anyone out there on this, or those that have participated in the East versus West Coast beef. But if you enjoyed today's video, please give a like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you can stay updated on new videos coming to the channel. Check out the community Discord in the description too. And this is Blackmore here, signing out. I'll catch you all on the next fighting game discussion video. Peace, y'all.
The study of Kung Fu fighting is ongoing. Don't ever hope to master all of them. So be careful.